Tomorrow morning, you wake up, look at your hands, and your veins are green. Your skin is drinking sunlight. You haven't eaten in 3 days, and you've never felt better.
Do you understand what happens to Uber Eats stock? It's over, done, liquidated.
The entire agricultural supply chain collapses in 72 hours. The caloric math doesn't even work. We'd need like 40 square meters of skin.
So I'm a houseplant now. Cool.
All right, here's what everyone's missing. Photosynthesis in plants is roughly 1 to 2% energy efficient. Human metabolism requires about 2,000 calories a day. So the question is, does the math even get close?
It doesn't. I ran this. A square meter of skin in direct sunlight generates maybe 5 calories an hour. You've got about 1.7 square meters of skin. That's like 60 calories in 8 hours of full sun.
So skip breakfast, big deal.
Sleek, that's not skipping breakfast. That's skipping breakfast, lunch, dinner, and 97% of your next breakfast.
So we'd starve, but in a cool new color.
Unless the mutation is dramatically more efficient than plant photosynthesis. Let's say 10 times. That gets us to 600 calories in full sun.
Okay, if we're hand-waving the efficiency, then we're talking about skin that's basically a biological solar panel. Your epidermis becomes a power grid. You'd need to be outside, nearly naked, for like 8 hours.
So the optimal human is just a nudist in Arizona. I already know several.
You are several.
The point is, even in the best case, this supplements food. It doesn't replace it, but even a supplement changes everything. Now zoom out. If every human on Earth suddenly needs 30 to 50% less food, what breaks first?
Agriculture. Immediately. You're looking at the biggest demand shock in human history. Corn, wheat, rice, the bottom falls out. Follow the incentives. Every farmer on Earth just lost a third of their market overnight.
So the guys who grow the food get destroyed, and the guys who sell sunscreen get rich. That tracks.
Brick. Yes, sunscreen becomes a weapon. If you can block someone's photosynthesis, you control their caloric intake. SPF 50 is basically a hunger strike in a bottle.
Oh no, sunscreen becomes a controlled substance. The DEA is raiding Walgreens.
I'm not impressed. The government already controls everything else I put on my body.
But here's where the money is. Real estate. South-facing apartments with floor-to-ceiling windows, that's not a luxury anymore. That's a food source. North-facing basement apartment, that's a starvation box.
And suddenly, geography becomes biology. Equatorial nations are calorie-rich. Scandinavian countries? They're in trouble.
Alaska. What about Alaska? They get like 4 hours of sunlight in winter. You'd have to eat and photosynthesize and probably have a grow lamp just to not die. Nobody stress tested this.
Alaska was already a survival situation. This just adds a color scheme.
Okay, but picture this. I'm pitching a chain of tanning restaurants. You walk in, you lie on a UV bed, your body makes the calories, they charge you for the light. Somebody's getting rich off this.
That's just a restaurant where the food is radiation. You've invented microwave dining. For people.
I'm calling it Photobistro. Franchise opportunities available.
I'd rather eat glass.
The restaurant industry doesn't die, but it shrinks. Eating becomes more recreational, more cultural. You eat because you want to, not because you have to.
So food becomes entertainment. Fine dining survives, fast food dies. McDonald's is gone, but the 12-course omakase is thriving.
Great. The working class loses meals, and the rich keep theirs for fun. That's a rich people problem pretending to be a solution.
Let's talk about daily life. If you need sunlight to supplement your calories, the 8-hour indoor workday is a health hazard.
Mandatory sun breaks, like smoke breaks, but you just lie on the roof like a lizard. Companies install rooftop sun decks. Your boss schedules you for photosynthesis rotation.
My boss can barely schedule a meeting. Now he's managing my biology.
Offices relocate to greenhouses. You work in a glass box. Productivity goes up because everyone's literally solar powered.
But wait, what about night shift workers? Third shift is already miserable. Now it's also starving you. The math doesn't math.
And that creates a new class divide. Sun people versus shade people. Those with outdoor jobs, southern exposure, equatorial latitude. They're the new upper class.
Construction workers are finally the elite. I'd pay to see that.
Until they unionize for UV benefits and the whole thing collapses.
You say that like unions are the problem, and not the guy selling tanning franchises.
Wait, clothing. If your skin needs sunlight to feed you, then clothing is now reducing your caloric intake. Fashion is literally starving people. Every sweater is an act of nutritional violence.
And suddenly, nudity isn't taboo. It's practical.
Nudist colonies rebrand as sustainable food communities. They were ahead of their time, visionaries.
I've been to a nudist colony. Trust me, nobody there was a visionary.
But what about winter? What about the entire northern hemisphere from October to March? We're in the bad timeline. Half the planet goes into caloric deficit for 5 months a year.
Seasonal migration. Humans start moving toward the equator every winter, like birds.
Snowbirds, but make it survival. Florida's population triples every November. Rent in Miami goes up 400%.
Miami already costs more than a kidney. Now it costs 2.
And what about pale people? What about gingers? Do they photosynthesize less? Is there a melanin efficiency curve? Are we accidentally creating a biological caste system based on skin tone?
And that's when it gets interesting, because we've been here before. Societies stratifying people by skin. Only now there's a caloric justification.
Cool. So, racism, but with a nutrition label.
Okay, dark turn, let me pivot. Beaches. Beaches become the new food courts. Spring break isn't a vacation, it's a harvest. You're not getting a tan, you're meal prepping.
Sunburn is overeating. Getting a sunburn means you photosynthesized too hard. You're the guy who went back to the buffet 6 times, but the buffet is the sun.
I've seen dumber metaphors, but not recently.
Here's the thing about photosynthesis. We treat it like a superpower, but it's really just a different dependency. Right now, we depend on food. In this world, we depend on light, and whoever controls the light controls the people. South-facing apartments become survival. Winter becomes famine. Clothing becomes sacrifice. And the sun, the one thing we thought was free, suddenly has a price. We didn't free ourselves from the food chain. We just traded the grocery store for the sky. And the sky doesn't take complaints. Think 3 moves ahead. The first move is wonder. The second is adaptation. The third is someone figuring out how to charge you for sunlight. And that's when the green on your skin stops looking like freedom and starts looking like a leash. The pattern here is clear. Every gift nature gives us, we find a way to weaponize, monetize, and stratify. Photosynthesis wouldn't make us plants. It would make us the same animals we've always been, just a little greener. Checkmate.